Okay. Guys, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. We just want to welcome you to our weekly training, and we are so excited for our special guest. Claire Flores is going to be our guest tonight, and she is going to be sharing all her tips and tricks about Facebook. We are so grateful that you hopped on with us, and I know not just myself, but so many people look up to you, not only in the business, but just in life in general. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and hopping on with us. So we'll first just have you introduce yourself, a little bit about your story and how you got started and all that fun stuff. And then we will hop into it.
Yes. Well, Caitlin messaged me before this and she was like, I'm so excited that you're on the Zoom. And I was like, stop, I'm sweating. I'm so nervous.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I have literally, like, Ashley, I've looked up to you since the day that I joined. And like, I have to fangirl for a second. Like, I've watched all of your videos and I texted Alyssa this morning. I'm like, guess whose Zoom I'm on tonight?
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
So this is fun for me. I'm excited. But yeah, I'm Claire Flores. I'm a presidential diamond. I joined just over 2 years ago. I joined in July of 2015, and I started just because my husband was working long hours at a really physically demanding job. He was a general contractor, and so he was like up on roofs every day, like really backbreaking work. And he would come home just exhausted. And the kids weren't getting the time with him that they deserved. I wasn't getting the time with him that I wanted or needed. And so I knew something in our life had to shift and had to change. I have 4 little ones. And when I got started, they were all 6 and under. And so we got married when I was really young. I was only 18 when I got married, started having babies pretty much right away. I had, 4 kids, had 5 pregnancies by the time I was 25. And I was, living the stay-at-home mom life, and I was happy with it. I always wanted to be a mom, but at the same time, I had this frustration that I wasn't able to contribute to the bills. And I just felt like I wanted to contribute in some way, and I didn't know what way that was. And I am a writer, and so I was doing freelance work, and I was also doing some online work as well, but it was not paying anywhere near what I wanted to be able to contribute so that my husband could be home more. So I was friends with Alyssa Billiou on Instagram. We'd both been bloggers, and so I'd seen her story, and I watched her for 15 months. And I watched her literally change her life. And I tease her all the time because I commented on a couple of her posts, and she never reached out to me. But I started to get kind of like in my own head, and I started to honestly think that maybe I wasn't the type of person that she wanted on her team. And so I just kind of was like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. So I just continued to silently watch until one day, like, enough was enough. And I just decided I can't watch anymore. I have to see if this is for me. So I texted her, got started right away. And I had a vision to, first of all, to help my husband with bills, but then I started to see all of these stories of people who were successful. And I thought, well, what is so different about any of them than me? So, what did they have that I don't have? So I just decided to go crazy, and I wanted to retire my husband. So I set a crazy goal to retire my husband. I wrote it on a little piece of paper, and I just made that my goal, and I worked my tail off. I watched training videos. I was on every single call that there was. I was reaching out to everybody. Pretty much everything was and still is on Facebook, and we'll obviously get into all of that tonight. But I built to Ruby in 25 days. I built to Emerald my 2nd month. I went Diamond in 4 months, and I took my husband's account to Emerald, and that was enough for us to retire him. So I retired him as a Diamond 5 months into the business. And then 2 months after that, we went double and diamond and started making a 6-figure income. And then the month after that, we went triple and double. And then exactly 1 year later, well, I guess I'll continue my story a little bit. Oh, are you back, Ashley? Oh, we can't hear you.
You're muted, Ash.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? I don't know what just happened. Everyone was frozen. So I'm just.
You were frozen.
Am I okay now? Am I still froze?
You're good now.
Okay.
I was like, she's either listening really intently or she's frozen.
She has not moved at all. Oh gosh. Okay, we're here.
Okay. Well, I just basically just finished my story.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. It's saying that my stuff is full. Of course, today has just been one of those days. Well, first of all, okay, hold on. I always do spotlight whoever's talking. Okay. So, okay, I'm sorry I missed the last part of what you said, but I mean, I did listen to your call. I'm sure everybody did. Was it last week or the week before? You were on the Monday night?
Last Monday, yeah.
Night call. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my goodness, listening to your story and hearing how quickly, like 4 months, I was like, what? You replaced his income that quickly? That's amazing. It just really shows you what's possible. Another thing I was going to say, if you guys have not yet, you need to check out like her posts just every day. I'm just like, oh my goodness, you can totally tell you're a blogger and a writer just every single day. Doesn't matter what it is that she posts, you guys, it's gold. It's amazing. Okay, so now the first thing I was going to go over, and really you can just kind of share if you have specific things you want to talk about as far as growing your business through Facebook. So that's what tonight is mostly about. We are going to be talking about Instagram and those things later on in the month, but we wanted to do a specific one tonight based on Facebook and growing your business through that social media app. Now, one of the topics we wanted to talk about was networking and how to expand your network, how to grow your friends list, how to meet new people through Facebook. So if that's maybe something you want to touch on, maybe give us a few of your tips on how you have met new people or grown your business through networking on Facebook. Maybe we'll start there.
Okay. Yeah. So growing your network is probably next to posting. It is the most important thing that you can do if you're building on social media. Because if you think about it, your market is only as big as who you're reaching, right? Your market is only as big as your reach. And so if you only have 200 friends, you can probably, let's say you sign 10% of those friends, you're not going to be able to build maybe past diamond. So you want to make sure that you're always growing your network. So when I first joined the business, I only had 750 Facebook friends. I was one of those moms that would go through like a yearly purge and be like, oh my gosh, these people are seeing pictures of my babies, so I need to remove them all. So I didn't have that many Facebook friends. I had 750, and they were all people I knew personally. So right away, as soon as I joined, I don't even know where I heard it from, but I heard somebody mention that you needed to be growing your network. So right away, I started adding new people. And in the beginning, that started for me with adding friends from elementary school and middle school and high school, people I hadn't talked to in years, and just touching base with them again. And that was a gold mine for me when I first got started, and just letting them see my posts. That's something that I'll talk a lot about tonight. Is I've built almost 100% through posting. I don't do a lot of messaging. I do a lot of just posting, and then basically I always end a post with a call to action, and I'll go into that a little bit further in a little bit. But basically reaching out to those people in the beginning, but then once I'd kind of gotten through that, I realized that I needed to reach out further. And I started wanting to add other people, but something that never felt organic to me was just adding other people's friends. It kind of made me nervous. So I started to join groups where I would have things in common with people. So I love makeup, so I joined a lot of makeup groups. I love fashion, so I would join fashion groups, blogger groups. So basically anything that you have a special interest in. Mommy groups tend to be pretty saturated already. Not to say that there aren't still some great ones. I've still signed tons of people from mommy groups, but kind of think outside the box and try some different groups. If you have a certain breed of dog, I promise you there are groups for that. Your local group, the town you live in, like Ashley with fixing up their house, like flipping their home, like you can join groups for fixer upper, and DIY and all of that. So really think outside the box as far as the groups you join. And then I just add everybody in groups. And if they message me and they're like, how do I know you? I'm just like, oh my gosh, we're in that group together. And usually they end up being like, oh, I love that group. It's like my favorite group. And so I kind of go through a group at a time. So I'll like add everybody from this group, move over to this group, add everybody from this group. And that has worked really, really well for me. So I send out 20 to 30 new friend requests on Facebook every single day. And that is how I'm continuing to grow my network. And this is all just kind of going to tie in. Like, this is all 3 different points, but I'm realizing that it's just like going together. But basically, you want to make sure that if you're sending that many friend requests throughout the week, you're going to want to make sure that you are going through at least once a week, once a month at the bare minimum, but best once a week, and you're canceling any of your pending friend requests. Because when you have a bunch of pending friend requests that are sent out that are not being accepted, you actually get pushed down. It's like bad points in the algorithm because Facebook is seeing you as somebody that people aren't necessarily wanting to connect to at the moment. So make sure that you're consistently going through and you're canceling the ones that haven't been accepted. And I'll sometimes send back to the same people that didn't accept me the first time, and they'll accept me the second time because maybe for whatever reason it got pushed down. So make sure that you're doing that. But yeah, 20 to 30 every single day. And I wouldn't be a presidential today if I didn't do that, because that has been a huge way that I've grown my network. And then as far as like what's important when you're building on Facebook, growing your network, and then like I said, posting. So I don't know, Ashley, do you want me to pause so you can like, I feel like I'm just going through all.
No, this is great. And honestly, guys, I'm just scribbling notes down as fast as I possibly can. But I had no idea about canceling pending requests. Okay, that's one thing I did not know. And I love the whole thing with groups, meeting people in there. That is honestly, you guys, like the best way to do it. I feel like, because then you have something in common with people. It's not like these strangers. You have something in common. So groups are such a good way. If you're not in groups, make sure you're getting into groups and meeting people that way. But no, just keep going. This is great.
Okay. All right. So as far as building on Facebook, the first thing that I kind of always mention to people is you want to brand yourself. You want to build a brand, and your brand is not It Works Global. And I think sometimes we think that as soon as we become a distributor, that's now our brand. But if your brand is It Works Global, then what sets you apart from the other 100,000+ distributors that we have? You know, they can go to any one of those people. So what do you have that adds value outside of just It Works? So I usually recommend that you're going through and you're picking like 3 main things that you want to be about. Like when someone goes to your social media, they know that they're going to get one of these 3 things. Maybe it's makeup tutorials. Maybe that's like one of the things that people go to your page for. For me, it's my faith and inspiration. So because I was a writer before this and I wrote like devotionals and things like that, that's kind of my focus because I have a lot of people that follow me from then anyway. So that's kind of my focus, is writing inspirational posts. People know that they can find that from me. And then marriage and family, and then my business. So, you know, being a business owner. And so that's what people can come to my page and find. That's what they're going to find on my page. Now, once you've branded yourself, you have got to stick to that. And that's not to say there's not flexibility in the future. It's not like I can't suddenly go start doing makeup tutorials if I wanted to, but I just mean don't post anything that is completely like the opposite of what your brand is. So for example, I want to be inspirational and faith-based, so I'm not going to go post some like rant, like trashing other people, because that wouldn't be consistent with who I am. I don't post anything political because that's not really consistent with who I am as being an uplifting and inspirational place. But some people, it works for them to post controversial things. So that's part of their brand. And if you want that to be part of your brand, it doesn't mean that it can't be. But once you've kind of picked your brand, stay consistent with it so people know what to expect from you, and they know kind of what value they're going to get from your page. And this is going to create an entire persona for you. And then people are going to want to join you, because people always buy people before they buy the products. People always are going to buy into you before they buy into the company. I joined Alyssa because of Alyssa. I had no idea what products It Works had to sell. I was pretty sure there was hair, skin, nails, and the wraps because I'd seen her post about it. But other than that, I knew nothing about this company. I just got into it because I was like, okay, she's going somewhere great, so I want to go too. And that's what you kind of want to instill in people. And so once you've branded yourself, you're posting consistently in line with your brand. You know, daily you're posting. And for me, I typically try to stick to a rule of thumb of posting, you know, at least once about my business, at least once about my personal life, and once about the products. And a lot of times you won't see my product posts because they are posted to my list. And we'll talk about lists in a second. I know, Ashley, you had wanted me to talk about that. So I'll talk about lists in a second too and how I use them. But basically, how I've built successfully on Facebook is by being really authentic and relatable. And I am not like a genius on Instagram, but what I will say is that I think on Instagram, people are much more comfortable with being approached by a stranger, whereas on Facebook, I feel like you've got to warm them up a little bit longer. You've got to take them on a few more dates and wine and dine them a little bit longer before they're really comfortable with you. So on Facebook, you really have to get real and raw and transparent. And as far as like building on Facebook, like I said, you've got to be posting and adding to your network. Those are like the two most important things. The very next thing, like the holy grail of working on Facebook, is interacting with people. You have got to be interacting. You can't expect to receive more than you give. So you can't expect 500 likes on a post if you're only liking 1 or 2 things a day. So you want to make sure that you're really interacting, and something that's really smart to do, and I don't always remember to do it this way, but something that's really smart to do is to go and interact about 15 minutes before you make a post on Facebook, because then your post will actually get bumped up a lot higher because Facebook will show it to all the people that you just interacted with. And the like button is worth far less in the algorithm than one of the other reactions. So the love, the sad, the angry, all of that stuff, that all carries more weight in the algorithm. So you want to do that. And then comments, of course, are even better. So you want to make sure that you're interacting, that you're posting, and that you've branded yourself. And once you've branded yourself, like kind of just take your social media and give it a little bit of a makeover. Another thing with branding yourself, and I don't know, like nobody throws stones at me, but if you're going to brand yourself on Facebook, don't copy and paste other people's posts, because that's not you. And if you're branding yourself and you're showing who you are to Facebook and you're sharing, let's say you're sharing, I'm trying to think of a leader whose post you might copy, like Sherry Lynn Alcala. Say that you copy and paste Sherry Lynn, or even Ashley. Say that you just copy and paste Ashley's post. Well, why wouldn't they just go join with Ashley? Because they just fell in love with the business opportunity from Ashley's point of view and from what Ashley has to say. So then you're really doing them a disservice by signing them. They should be signing with Ashley, because that's who they just like fell in love with through that post. So post your own content, because give people the chance to fall in love with you, because you have so much to offer. And I think so many times distributors sell themselves short by thinking, well, I don't have a story like so-and-so, so their posts are more valuable. But people are going to buy into you and follow you, and your story is going to speak to somebody, because someone's going to be in your exact walk of life, and they're going to need to hear from you. So make sure that you're being authentic. You're just not going to carry as much weight in the world of social media if somebody sees your same post posted 2 hours before you did. And people notice what time it was posted. They figure out who's the original author. They're smart. They can figure it out, no matter how quick you think you are. And that goes the same for pictures. Post your own pictures. Take the extra 5 minutes it takes to take a good picture. And you learn as you go. I look at my pictures from a year ago and I'm like, oh my gosh, those are awful. And hopefully in a year from now, I'll look back at these pictures and think they're awful, because hopefully I'll get even better. But, take the 5 minutes it's going to take to post your own picture and really write your own words. Okay, I feel like I was going somewhere next, and then I kind of lost my train of thought. Also, yeah, you can do like posts that are really going to entice interaction. And I'm not necessarily, these are fun, like these have their place, but I'm not necessarily just saying like, oh, what's new on Netflix or something like that. Those have their place, and they can definitely get you a lot of like interaction really quickly. But posts that like for example, I know that when I throw up a picture of my kids, I'm going to get all kinds of interaction on it. Or, right now, like, I feel like this almost sounds bad, but right now my husband's going through cancer. And so when I post an update about his journey, obviously that's going to get a lot of traffic, because people are really invested in that right now. So I know that sometimes if my algorithm seems to be dropping off a little bit, I'll make sure that I post something that I know is going to get a lot of attention, like a cute picture of my kids, or an update about my husband, or something like that. So kind of like date your Facebook, kind of feel their mood, like feel where they're at, and kind of interact with that. So if you feel like your Facebook is not really happening, take a little bit of a break from your business posts for a couple of days and really just post a lot of stuff that people are going to be really into. And then at the end of those 2 days, come back with a really hard-hitting business post, and you're going to be completely mind blown at the interaction you're suddenly going to get. Or do a live video. What I'll do is, when I'm going to do a live video, because I want a lot of people on it, I'll do like a really interaction heavy post, like maybe 24 hours before or 10 hours before, or something like that, of my kids. And then I'll respond to all the comments. And then I'll do a live video like maybe that evening, and I'll have way more people on my live video because I just bumped up in everybody's feed. Another trick for getting your posts, I feel like I'm talking really fast. Another trick for getting your posts like really seen is I wait to respond to everybody's comment. I don't respond to people's comments as they're commenting. I'll let them sit there for like an hour and then I'll go and respond to everybody so that I'm bumped back up into people's news feeds. And then about 1 to 2 hours after posting a picture, I'll tag myself in the picture. And then that also puts me back into people, or puts that same post back into people's newsfeed. So if you really focus on your quality over your quantity, you're going to find that you don't even have to post as often, and you're going to get interaction on the same post all day long. I only post about 2 to 3 times a day, but I have people interacting on my posts for the entire day. So it's carrying the same weight for me as if I was posting 6 times a day with a lot less work. And then I can just make sure that those posts were really, really valuable. Okay, so I already talked about growing your network. One thing that's huge, and I kind of mentioned this, is you're going to want to do a call to action when you do a business post. And basically that's just like something at the end of your business post that gives them something to respond to. Because people are intimidated a lot of times, or they're nervous, or they're fearful about this kind of opportunity. And so I found that giving them something tangible that they can respond with makes them much more likely to respond. So you'll a lot of times see at the end of my posts, I'll say like, text the word freedom to, and then I'll put my phone number. I usually put my phone number in a funny format, like with periods in between or like little dot emojis in between, because if you put an actual phone number, it's bad for the algorithm. So I'll just put like a weird way of putting my phone number, and I'll just give them a word to text me. And I cannot tell you how many text messages I get from that. It really is. I don't just do it to do it. Like, it's really successful for me. A lot of my distributors have come from texting me a word. And as soon as they text me the word, I just instantly am flooding them with like excitement, because I know that it took so much, like it took so many guts for them to like text that word to me. So I'll instantly be like, hey babe, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. What's your name? And usually, I don't know if you guys know this tip, but you can copy the phone number and paste it into Facebook. And if they've ever put their phone number anywhere on Facebook, they're going to pop right up. So I like to kind of know who I'm talking to ahead of time. Like that way, before I send that initial text, I can see like if they're a 60-year-old woman, I'm going to speak with them a little bit differently, you know, than I would. And then if I see that they're like a 19-year-old, I'm going to be like super gushy and use all the emojis. So like, just talk to who you're talking to. Like, think about who you're talking to. And that's just like a fun little way to be able to tell that. So that call to action is really, really important. On a product post, you can do it. You can do it on business posts. Even if it's just like, message me to claim one of my limited coupon codes or whatever, you know, something so that there's a sense of urgency, and there's also, you know, that thing that's calling them to action. And another thing that I've been doing the past couple of months that's been really successful for me is every time I sign a distributor, I have a little graphic that I post that says position filled. And I just say, you know, oh, I just signed somebody. And when I first started doing it, I was really skeptical. I did it, someone else talked about it on training, and I was really skeptical of it. And every time I did it, I would get like 1 or 2 likes, and I was like, okay, this really isn't working. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing it. And then I signed a distributor from one of those posts, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna keep going. And I have continued to sign people from those, where they just, something about seeing a spot filled, like, makes them almost nervous. Like, oh, I don't want my spot to go away, or that girl took the jump, like, why can't I? So those have been really successful for me too, and you'll see those on my page if you like creep me a little bit. And then obviously, like with your brand, no ads, nothing that's like pre-packaged, you know, black, green, and bling, like join my team or anything like that. That's not going to be consistent with your brand. That's consistent with It Works Global brand, which is an incredible company, and they can post whatever they want on their It Works Adventure page. But you are, you know, I'm Audrey Scott, you are Camille, you know, you are you. And so you want to put out what you would put out. So don't be afraid to create kind of your own look and your own style so that people can kind of see you coming through it. Okay. Also with the algorithm, don't use like the $sign, the %sign, the word sell, the word sale, anything like that, because that gets less attention in the algorithm. So just try to be clever with how you're wording things. You know, sometimes it's hard. I still use those words sometimes, just because it's hard sometimes to leave them out of a certain post, but just do your best to try to keep them out so that you just stay in good standing, in good favor with the algorithm. And then something that's also really beneficial is using the reaction. So you'll see a lot of times when I sign somebody, for example, I'll say Claire is celebrating opportunity with Brian Flores in Chandler, Arizona. So the more of Facebook's tools that you use, the more Facebook is going to be like, oh, she's using all of my features. Like, I want to show her to other people, so other people will use my features too. So, think about using all of those too, and then doing live videos and things. Live videos are really successful for me on Facebook, but I am a little bit different, and I will always say this: I don't have the right way to do things. I'm just telling you how I do them, and if it resonates with you and it works for you, then that's incredible. Like, please feel free to use it, but also listen to all of the other leaders, because a lot of people have different opinions than me, and they're incredible and enroll more than me and are amazing people who I look up to and still learn from. So I go live once a month. I'm pretty much a stickler on that because it's what works for me. When I go live once a month, I get upwards of 10,000 views on my videos. When I go live more often, it's significantly less. It's more like 1,000 to 2,000 views. And so I'm just really stringent on that because that's what works for me. And I also, because of my brand of being someone who's inspirational and faith-based and someone who, I'm hoping that people are going to for encouragement, I'm not going to go live unless I have something really powerful that I feel like I have to say. And that's usually about once a month. I don't have something really incredible to say every single day. So, and that's me. But if you're somebody who's funny and you get on your live videos and you're doing your humor, or maybe you're doing cooking tutorials, or maybe you're doing a day in the life or whatever, then you're going to go live more often, and people are going to enjoy that and they're going to love that. But I'm like a talking head. That's just who I am. I'm the person that's just going to sit there and talk to them. And so they don't want to see that more than like once a month. So just know your audience and what works. Use an image in everything you post on Facebook, unless you're doing the short statuses. You know how Facebook will, like, with the shorter status, it'll make the words really big, or you can even use those little graphics. Do those. Those are really successful for me when I do things like who wants to grow their hair out or something like that. Those are super, super successful for me. They get a lot of traffic. But other than that, I'm going to post a picture with everything I say. I'm never just going to post like a plain chunk of text, because those just aren't going to get as much attention. They're not going to be read as much. Okay, I'm going to go into lists unless you want to do anything else first. Are you good?
Oh, yes, we are so good. I apparently need an entire tutorial on algorithms, because I literally did not know any of this information. So, oh my gosh, I know everybody's learning so much. Thank you. Yeah, just hop right into the Facebook list, because I know my team does not know about this, because I don't really know how to do this. So we're really excited to hear how lists work.
Okay, well, I'm not I'll say it right now, I'm definitely not the authority on Facebook lists, but I do use them and they're successful for me. So I'll tell you what I know about them. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so you can just see how I do it. Okay. Is that working for you? Okay, perfect. So to create a Facebook friend list, you're going to go over here. I mean, it already says friend list for me, and it should for all of you too. And you can just up here create list. And this has created a bunch of lists for me. I didn't make all of these lists. It's just automatically oh, you have multiple friends who worked at Biaggi, so we're going to make you a list for that. So that just created that for me. Honestly, these are the 3 that I created. So sideline, babes, potentials, and it works downline. So if I have a sideline that I really enjoy following or something like that, I'm going to throw them there. Anyone in my downline, I throw there. But those 2 lists I hardly ever use, honestly. They're there for someday when I get organized, but they're really not important. So the one that I use is potentials. And every single time someone adds me on Facebook, I'm putting them in this list. So, and then I take them out as soon as they enroll with me. So as of right now, I have 1,400 some friends on this list. And these are all people who are not yet involved with It Works, who I've just randomly added. So as soon as somebody adds me back on Facebook, so for example, let's find somebody, I don't know if anyone recently accepted a friend request from me, but let's just say, I don't even know who this is, but let's just say that I respond to her. Who knows, she might even be with It Works, but let's just say that I respond to her. Then I would go here to friends, and I would click add to another list, and then potential. So it's as easy as that. And it's actually even easier to do from your phone. You just click on them and say more and add to list. So now she's in my potentials list. So I would go back to home, and I would go to friend lists. potentials. And this is now just all my potentials. So when I do my interaction, which is part of my power hour every single day that I'm interacting, with people, I'm not interacting on my main news feed. I'm interacting on this list because these are all my potentials. So instead of spending my time like scrolling through a bunch of my downlines posts, which of course I want to interact on too, I'm really having focused time just on my potentials. So I can just go through and interact just with my potentials and really build that relationship with them. And then also just having them all in one place is so helpful for me, and I can just post to them. So let me show you how you post to them. So I would make a quick post like, who wants to grow their hair out for the holidays? I have 3 model positions. Okay, and then I would go down here and click public and then more. Where did it go? Oh my gosh, don't tell me that Facebook just changed something. Okay, here we go. And then I would click potentials and then post. And this is where I do like most of my product posts because I don't want to flood people who I know aren't interested, like my aunt or my cousin or, whatever. Like I don't want to flood them with all of my It Works posts all the time. So it's useful for that. But also because this is now only being sent to those 1,700 people or however many it was, 1,400 people, it's going to be seen by more of them. So it has more likeliness to be seen by all 1,400 than it does if I put it out to all of my 3,700 friends and 5,500 followers. Does that make sense? So more people are seeing them. So I end up signing a lot more people this way. I can post a little more, like, obviously, like I mentioned, I have my brand, and so I'm a little bit hesitant to share certain like tons of before and afters and stuff because I want to stick with my brand. And so I know like a lot of Instagram people will delete them after 24 hours. They're on my list, so I don't really care as much. So on my list, I'm posting those things. So anyone who's on my list, they'll come to my newsfeed and they'll see potential posts and they'll also see my regular posts. But someone who's not on my potentials list, they're just going to see my regular posts. So it just works really well to streamline everything. I can keep track of everybody so much better. So, and then every time I have someone accept my friend request, they're going on this list, so I already know. And then if I'm scrolling through my potentials feed and I see somebody post about It Works, for example, then I'm just like, oh, you don't belong there. And then I just take them off the list or unfriend them if they're not, on my downline or whatever. So, did that make sense?
Oh my goodness, you guys. I feel like I've been wasting all of my time. Like that is so smart. Is everyone else just like your mind is blown right now? Yeah, everybody? Oh my gosh. Seriously, that was so helpful. And to see an actual like tutorial. Thank you for doing that because I think, I don't know. I've heard people explain it, but I've just never understood. Like I've gone online and I've tried to look. Can you also, when you create the list for the first time, doesn't it have to be on a computer?
You can add to the list from your phone. Oh, sorry.
Okay, I just unmuted you.
Sorry. Yeah, you can add to the list from your phone, but you can't create the list from your phone. So you do have to create the list on the computer, but don't be afraid. Like, don't feel like you have to sit down and take a whole day and add everybody. Like, it was something I did really gradually. Like, I just started adding a few people, and then something that actually someone in my downline who's way more organized than me, my girl Katie. I'm not super organized. Like I just kind of, if it's easy, I'm going to do it. If it's not, like it's a little bit harder for me. But Katie like printed out her entire friends list and then took, all the A's one day and put them all on her list and then took the B's the next day and stuff like that. And so for some of you who are more organized, like you're going to be like, oh, that sounds so much fun. I'm so ready to go do that. But for me, it's just so much easier that as people are accepting my friend requests, I'm throwing them in the list. So, and if you haven't been someone that's added 20 to 30 people a day before, I would encourage you to start now. And then just as they accept them, you get a notification, just throw them in your list and then it'll be super easy and you won't have to go through everybody.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is probably what I would do. Like starting today, when you get potentials, now they're going in a list. And obviously, you probably should have a hundreds list. And so if there's people that you already have as potentials and you already know, go and put them in the list. But yeah, if you want to be really organized, that's a great idea, a great tip to just put like sections in it every day until you have that list. But really, that makes so much more sense because I don't want people just coming to my page and being flooded with like before and after pictures. And it's just like 50 posts a day. I would unfollow me, you know? So that's so smart. But that's also why maybe you see some leaders and you're like, well, I don't see that they're posting a lot of before and after pictures. Well, they probably are. It's just, it's in a list that you don't see. I love that. That is so cool. And that is a good tip too with Instagram. That's usually what I do is after it's been up for a little while, I want my Instagram to look a certain way because it's different. When you come to Instagram, you see like the whole profile right there, whereas Facebook, you kind of have to scroll, but you don't want it to look like a big ad. And so I usually will go back and start deleting things, but this is such a great tip. Like that is so awesome. And I feel horrible that I haven't taught you guys that. So thank you so much for giving us that. All of the, like, seriously, I have pages and pages of notes. I'm sure everybody here does. Man, I literally have been scribbling, so I don't even know what to ask right now.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, no, seriously, I wrote down every single thing I wrote down. I did not know before. And so, which is basically every single thing you said. Okay, there was something I was going to say. Now I don't remember where. I think I started. Where is it? Oh, I already asked that question. Okay, never mind. I don't know if we'll be back in time. Okay, hold on. Let me go through. I see some. Okay. I'm just going to see if there's any questions. I mean, everyone's just saying, my mind is blown. My mind is blown.
I saw that Brittany had a question. When you post to your list, is it part of your 2 to 3 posts a day? It's not. Those are all extra. Like those are all, I just do those all extra. So because those I can do like a bunch of product posts, or I'll do a lot of times like on there just those statuses. So I'll do things like who wants to make an extra $500 by Christmas, or, you know, like just different things like that. Or I'm looking for a mom who wants extra money or things like that. Just more specific posts. And it doesn't, like, I'm somebody who, like, the likes do affect me. Like, I pay attention to how many likes I'm getting. Whereas on the list, I feel like I care less because I know it's being shown to so many less people. Mm-hmm. So if something on my list only has like 3 likes, it really doesn't bug me. Like, it's still there. It's not a big deal. So yeah, the way I would on like my public page.
That's so true. I love that. Oh my gosh, I'm just so excited. I'm going to go and just start a list and just put everyone in there. So as far as like potentials, you put your potential distributors and customers all in one list, right?
I do. And some people separate them, but for me, that's like too, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, plus also I feel like you don't know, like what if you think they're a potential customer, but they actually are interested in the business. So yes. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if they're customers, I would leave them in the potential list because I just signed a distributor from that. She was my customer, but I left her in the potential list, and she saw a post on there and then became a distributor. So yeah, so leave them there. And then if they turn off after the 3 months, they're still going to be seeing about your new products and stuff like that.
Wow, that is all such good information. I'm so excited. Okay. I don't even know what to ask. Like, I just feel like we already have so much helpful information. So if there's anything else that you wanted to add, anybody else had a question, or I don't see any more.
Yeah, I mean, I covered everything that I had written down that I wanted to cover. So I'm good, but if anyone has questions, yeah, like I'm always more than willing to answer. But I think actually one thing that I'll just add is that when you're writing a post, make sure, and I just always say this because I think it's so important, make sure you're emotionally connecting to your post, that it's something that you're feeling when you're writing it, because then it's going to connect to the people that you're speaking it to. So if it's something where you're going to want to portray like how you were feeling, like really get in that mind space and remember how you were feeling at that time. Like for me, I write a lot about how life was before the business and how life is after the business. And so I really put myself back in that space, and I like remember the crappy little apartment that we lived in. And I remember, you know, what it was like for my husband to come home exhausted and all of that. So just really put yourself in that mindset. And if you're really going to work on building your business through your posting, then just challenge yourself every day to improve your level of writing and what you're saying and what you're putting out there, and ask yourself, like, what story do I have to tell? What have I lived through that might minister to somebody else? And then don't be afraid to just be vulnerable and put it out there, because that is going to change so many lives when you just open up and do it.
No, that is such good information and such a helpful tip, because it's funny, for years I was like, I never shared my story. Like, people knew that we had lost a child, but I really didn't like post about it or talk really about it as far as that being my story. When I would do opportunity calls, I never talked about it. And I felt like one day I was like, okay, that's just my story. I need to be way more vulnerable and talk about what we went through. And I feel like I could relate to more people just talking about like financially where we were before we got started. And I just never shared that. And so really, you guys, whatever your story is, you really do you want to just tell it from your heart, because that's what's going to be relatable. That's what's going to connect with other people. Another thing that I actually thought of when you were talking about making your own posts, when you're talking about your, just making your own posts and not just copy pasting all the time. And another reason for this, guys, is because let's say, okay, I've actually seen people that are, other leaders have been like, well, I added myself into twin mom groups because I see a lot of twin moms that are successful, but I'm like, but you don't relate to them. So it just kind of made me laugh. But the whole reason, guys, with these groups, these things that you want to get involved in, is because whatever, like if you're passionate about something, and like she said about, there's dog groups, I actually am in one. So yes, there are lots of groups for whatever you're relatable to. And those people want to join you. So if you're always sharing other people's posts, that's totally, like Claire nailed it on the head, because they're going to think that they're joining somebody else completely different when then they see what you actually post, and they're like, well, that's not at all who I thought you were, So just be you, whoever you are. It doesn't matter, like, if they're doing something that makes them successful, that might not work for you. Just speak from your heart. I feel like I'm going on 10 different tangents right now, but hold on, I just saw a question, so I wanted to answer that. One of the questions was, okay, wait, where was that question? Da-da-da-da. I feel like we just got like 50 questions. Okay. I will post this on Facebook, and I'll send you guys the link, and I'll send Claire the link too, so that you guys can get that, because I don't know what I'm going to call this. Probably something about learning on Facebook. And then, so are you making product business posts on your regular feed or just in the list, or is it more of a lifestyle on your regular feed?
I do both. It's just like not daily. Like it's not like I don't actually do product posts daily on my regular feed. I do them daily on my list. But you'll still see me doing product posts on my normal feed too. It's still there. It's just not as often. Like maybe that's more like 2 to 3 times a week, whereas on my list it's daily, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yep, that totally makes sense. Okay. And then adding people from groups. Do you add men and women?
No, not usually.
Just women.
I get some interesting messages sometimes when you add men. So
that is true. I think that is true, because they're like getting the wrong idea. You're like, no. Okay. Well, I don't know if that was.
One girl asked how you post a list from your phone. I can show you guys really quickly. It's super simple. Okay. So this is Rachel Jones. She's a triple diamond. So I'm not really adding her to my potentials list, but she's the first person that popped up. So I'll add her. So here's her profile. And then I don't know if you can see because it's really bright, but there's the more button right there on your phone. So you would just click more, and then it says, Facebook just changed everything, you guys. That says add to groups. Hold on, now I have to figure it out because it just changed everything.
You know what? I would be surprised if I woke up and Facebook didn't change. Like every single night. I'm like, what? Now I have to figure this out?
It totally changed. I don't know now. I can't tell you now. I'll get back to you. It completely changed. It used to be right here, and now it's not there.
Okay, there's add to groups, but yeah, I only see groups is like our team pages and that type of thing.
Yeah. It used to show up right there. That's really, really weird. Oh, sorry. Click on friends.
Oh, okay.
Click on friends and then edit friend lists, and then you can add her to a list from there. So you can see she's already on my slide lines, babe.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I know what I'm doing for the next few hours tonight. Going through all those.
Oh my gosh, someone said something about my nails and they're so grown out. Now I'm so embarrassed.
What?
No, she was saying like a good thing, but I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't look
No.
good.
Let's see them.
They're pretty bad.
Oh no, those are so pretty.
Like pen marks on them.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I don't want to take up any more of your night, but really thank you so much. Like, we appreciate this so much. I know my team is like sick of hearing from me. Plus, I've never given these tips. So we are so grateful that you were able to hop on and share all this with us. So thank you so much. We are so grateful. Hold on. I always think it's weird when someone else is talking. Okay. So thank you again, Claire. We are all so grateful. And I know everybody's been taking a million notes. So I will get this uploaded and I'll send you the link so you can send it to your friends, your friends, all your friends, your team too. But thank you so much. And we will call that a night. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for hopping on. Seriously. We're so grateful. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.